Hey guys, Kirk here, and thank you for joining me on a new video on this channel. If you have any questions for me, personally, not personal questions, but regarding my videos, the best way to contact me is on Discord. There's a link in the description. If you don't want to use Discord, you can always leave a comment below in the video. And you can also like and subscribe from there as well. But yeah, moving on. In this video, it's going to be episode 4 of our water shader series, in which we're creating a river shader. In particular, in this episode, I want to concentrate on refraction and to make some visualization improvements to our water shader, just by adding bits of logic in there and working out what will suit it best. This is obviously going to follow up from the previous video in which we built our depth mask and our opacity mask. If you've not seen that video, go check it out and you could be up to date with where we are on our water shader. But after that, after we created the mask, I added the material instance to our water plane, and off camera since that video I have gone through, which I did state in the last video that I would go through the parameters and make it look more like a river, which I have done here. But with the addition to my material instance messing around, you can obviously see artifacts that are appearing in the river shader. There's a good reason for that, and I'll get through to that in a second. But it's now looking like a river, and like I say, you can see these artifacts here. You're getting greys, blacks, spots of white. The reason for this, if we go to our master material here, you'll see in the last video I added this blend angle corrected normals, and with this it's blending the normals together, but it's not meant to be used with transparent surfaces like this. So if we come back to it, I'm going to open this blend angle corrected normals, and what's causing it is this dot product here. Basically what this is doing is bringing in two value lengths from our append nodes and splitting out an average into our multiply, and it's this dot product that is creating this these artifacts on our water shader. So prior, like earlier on in the series, I did blend our normals together using a lerp, and I want to go back to that strategy. So we'll do that now. We're just going to blend these with a lerp, and I'll just showcase that. If you watch the series from the beginning, then you will understand what I'm doing here. So if I hold L on the keyboard and get a lerp, and what I want to do is blend these two together. So I'm going to get this add node, left control and D, just to duplicate it. I'm going to put this add node into B there, and that one into A, and we're going to drag this into the B slot of our lerp, and there we go. We can now delete this blend angle corrected normals function. We don't need that, of course. We're going to go off our alpha here and just type SCAL and get a scalar parameter. I'm going to put master normal strength. How do you spell strength? Is that it? Yeah, that'll do. That'll do till I find it. So master normal strength. We're going to put a default here of 0.3 and 0.12345 in the minimum slider and the 1 in the maximum slider. I'm also going to set the group up now so it marries up in our material function. Yeah, that's right. As you can see here, my material instance to the right hand of the screen, I've got 0 on the water depth and then 1 and 2. This is just to keep the particular groups in order, and I'm going to do that here as well. I'm going to put a 3 and put this as river. No, I'll keep it with water. No, river options. Right, so and what I need to do with this lerp as well, we need to tell this lerp to blend our normal strength, and I'll blend our normals together in the Z offset, or Z axis if you like. So I'm going to hold 3 on the keyboard and left click and get a vector 3 constant in here. And the red, green and blue, you should all know by now, represent X, Y and Z in the vector axes category, if you like. So we want the Z offset or Z axis, so I'm going to put a 1 in the blue channel and put that into the A of our lerp. And from our lerp, the out pin of our lerp, we're going to right click on there and put this into our normals, like so. So if I hit apply now on this, just let me shaders compile. Come in here, let's have a look now at this river. And there you go. As you can see, them normals, that river looks a lot better than what it did. I've got my master normal here. I can increase this to like 1, 2, and you'll see the normals are going up. You don't really want to go up that high with your normal strength, especially when it's a master. Keeping in mind we've still got these individual controls for our normal strength as well. Okay, moving on. What I want to do is add some extra controls for our roughness and specular and our metallic. Now, a lot of people find metallic strange on water, but I feel it adds to the I feel it adds to the visualization of our river shader, but I'll showcase that now. The way I want to do this, I want to do this using our depth mask. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into our content drawer here, and I'm going to right click inside here, go to materials and create a material function. Using my naming convention for KM, for Kirk Materials, I'm going to call this parameter lerp. I'm probably going to use this multiple times throughout this whole shader series, so that's why I've decided to create the function. I'm going to open our material function up, and what I want to do here is to hold L on the keyboard and get a lerp. And I'm going to drag this to the output result, like so. The A, I'm going to just hold 1 on the keyboard and get a constant 1 vector, and just put a value of 1 in there. And put that into the A slot of our lerp. I'm going to drag off the B slot and just type input, like so. We're going to, if I spell it right, input. We're going to get a function input there. If you're a regular viewer on this channel, you'll know that I do use functions and inputs a lot when doing shaders. They're really useful for breaking up your logic. So we're going to call this our parameter input, like so. We don't need to change it, we can keep it as a scalar value, and we don't need to set it as a preview. We will set the priority though. We're going to set this, well, we're going to leave it as a 1. From the alpha, we're going to drag off there and get another input function, like so. And what we're going to call this is mask input. We're going to set this priority to a 1, so that means this function input is going to be below this one outside the function. And that's basically it there, guys. We've created our parameter lerp. I'll showcase why we've done this shortly. But as you can see, I put a 1 in here, and what this means with a lerp when you put just a value of 1. A and B 0 to 1 in a lerp. I mean, they could go higher, but in general 0 to 1, and basically the alpha blends between A and B on the range of 0 to 1. So if I put a 1 in here, this parameter is just going to be blended with this alpha, so I can increase and decrease this parameter input based off this mask. Very useful. It probably will be used throughout my whole channel. Now I've created it. Very useful stuff. Okay, so we're going to go do our metallic. Just going to right click on here. I'm going to put river metallic. I'm just going to stick with the river thing. And right click on specular, promote to a parameter, and just type river specular. Alright, so we're going to set our roughness as well. And we're going to call this, you guessed it, river roughness. Like so. Okay, so I'm going to move them up. They're all highlighted. I'm going to change the group YMA to river options. I could do with changing these group names to river as well from water, but I could do that off camera. It's not a difficult task. Okay, so now we've got them. We'll set the group to quick. 1, 2, 3. And what this is going to do now is just put them in order for me in our river options section here. I'm going to quickly run through and set these defaults. I'm going to put 0.3, 0 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a 1 and then a 1. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to skip this bit. I'm just going to add these values to each one. Okay, now they're set up. We've got our defaults in there. What we can do now is apply it. We can enable these. And we're just going to drag our lerp in here, like so. We're just going to duplicate these 3 times and delete that first one. Now, you may be wondering why I've done this. If you look closely at these two lerps, these two functions, you can see I've got parameter inputs and it's got the brackets with an S and the brackets with an S there. And if you just duplicate, like if I drag that main one in again, like so, you'll see it's got the S. But if I duplicate this, it gets rid of that S. And if I do that 3 times and delete the initial one, do this. I could just do it this way now. And I've not got them little S's. I'm going to right click on the result of our function, put this into metallic, like so. I'm going to get this scalar parameter and this is going to go into our specular, like so. I'm going to get this, move that down one, put this into our roughness, like so. Okay, so that's that sorted out. You'll see we're getting errors on our functions. That's completely fine. It's because we've not got a mask. Now we're going to drag off our saturate node. I think I don't want to include the depth fade in our function mask, so I'm going to use the saturate node, but I'm going to do it a different way. I don't want to drag 3 lines over here. I'm going to get a reroute node. Just type RER and get the add named reroute declaration node. We've used this before on our channel, but for the new people here who are here for water shaders, this is how you use a reroute node. I'm just going to call this mask, like so. And to get what this mask, this reroute node is essentially doing, it's saving me having to drag noodles all over the place like this. If I know I'm going to need this mask for all 3 inputs here, I'm going to get a reroute node and I'm going to come here, I'm going to right click and you'll see named reroutes and just click on the mask. And this can essentially just plug into each one like this. Like I say, I've used this before on my channel. It's nothing new. It's just for the people who didn't know about it. Okay, so that is that sorted now with that functionality. I'll just pull that out so we can see it a bit better. I'm going to hit apply here now. The reason I've done it this way with the functions, like I showcased just before with the lerp, is because I'm using this mask in our lerps, and what this mask is enabling us to do is our metallic, specular and roughness is now going to be affected from the outside and working on our water shader here. So you can see now this looks a lot better already. If I increase this metallic to 1, you'll see it goes completely dark, and that is just metallic. On the contrary to what most, I say on the contrary, it is actually true. Metallic is meant to be either 0 or 1. In most cases, if not 99% of cases, 0 and 1. But on a water shader, I do like to use metallic just to get in between, and you can see there I'm brightening this up and adding a bit more reflectivity to our water shader. With the specular as well, I can increase this like so, and you'll see it's giving me a lot more shine. And if you watch now, it's completely dark. If you watch, I'll increase this dead slowly and you'll see it comes shiny in the middle and then works out. And that's exactly what I want. If I move this up, you'll see now it's come shiny in the middle. It's still staying a bit dark on the outside and it just works its way out. Like so. And it's the same for the metallic. As you can see, the darkness is coming from the outside in. I could have it like that. I'm getting a bit of reflectivity in the middle and it's a bit darker on the outside. With roughness as well, it's the same thing. You can see. And what this is doing now is just giving us more control over our reflectivity and our shininess on our river shader. Right, so if you did watch in the last video as well, you'll notice I've added some vegetation with the foliage tool, just to give our scene a bit more life. It just makes it a little more visually appealing. If you're not sure about the foliage tool, which is here, I do have a video on that on my channel. If you go and check that out. Okay, so now we've done this, what I want to do is concentrate on the main reason of this video, and that is refraction. And what refraction is going to do, it's going to, like here we're looking at this water plane here now with this river on, and you'll see underneath here it's not distorting, and if you look down at something like this from above and you're seeing through water, everyone knows water will distort the light that goes through it, and then which is then reflected onto any solid object, which then looks distorted. And that's the effect I want to implement today in this video mainly. So we're going to come back into our master material. I'm going to use that reroute node again. Actually, I'm going to drag off this lerp, type RER, and then add a reroute declaration node and just call this normal. Right, so I'm going to come up here to the out pin, right click, named reroutes, get our normal, plug that into there, and that's just freeing up the space now so I can build up our refraction. Okay, so let's get on the refraction side of things. What I'm thinking about now with our refraction, I want to have it refract near the rocks but not all over the plane, so we're going to have to build a mask. I can't likely use the opacity mask, the depth mask or the opacity mask because it just won't look right. So I am going to create a new mask. So I'm going to drag off our reflection. No, I'm not. I'm going to hold L on the keyboard and get a lerp in here. Like so. You could potentially use this function, but it would just be a bit too confusing for a tutorial, as I want you guys to see the whole thing. And then at a later time you could easily add it to a function yourself. I'm going to get a constant 1 vector using the same aspects as our function. We'll put a value of 1 in here. Just drag that into the A input of our lerp. From here, I'm just trying to think in my mind how I'm going to build this mask. I want it to have some sort of depth fade. Yeah, I'll use a depth fade node. Right, so this is going to go in our alpha because it's a mask. What this depth fade node is going to do, when our refraction is added to here, what refraction will do, it'll create a solid line around the edge of our rock based off where our water plane is. As you can see here, this is our water plane, this line. If I move out, you'll see, we can see through it, but that line will become apparent with refraction. So what this depth fade node is going to do, it's going to pull that line away. So if I promote to parameter and call this refraction edge, yeah. Oh, I'll use fade offset. We can get rid of that distance part. So, okay. I'm not sure what values to put in here yet. I'm going to start with a 10. No, I'll start with a 5. We could come back. I may just come back and sort these min and maxes out off camera. Otherwise this video will get really long. What I want to do now is to tell our depth fade to use just the edges. So our depth fade, like I say, it's just going to calculate refraction of our depth fade. But I need to tell this. How shall I do? How shall I do this? Yeah, I'm going to right click and type FRE, and in the in the utility section we're going to click on Fresnel node. Fresnel node, very powerful node. I mean, very powerful, especially for technical artists. I'm not a technical artist, but for technical artists who just do this constantly every day, this is a very, very powerful node. I think there's a function for it as well with more detail. Fresnel, yeah, Fresnel function there. So this just adds a lot more detail. We will be using this at some point, but this is a little bit more advanced. And we don't really need to calculate this on such a basic river shader, so we don't need this kind of expense in our shader. So what I want to do is to put this Fresnel into our opacity. Just going to right click and start preview. As you can see here, we've got an outline of white in the sphere, and it goes darker in the middle. And what that dark bit is doing, it's basically following our camera about. And it's just going to use the outside of this sphere, or the outside. It basically creating a sphere mask. I mean, you've got a node that's a sphere mask. Where are you? There it is. It's similar. It's the same thing, but this you could change the actual size, and you could do it with this. But the sphere mask works better. But for this mask, we don't need a sphere mask. We're just going to use the Fresnel node. And basically it's just going to use this outline in here to calculate how close and how far away from an object our refraction is going to go for, if you like. If I decrease this base reflect, maybe if I put 0.002, you'll see this black dot appears now, like so. So yeah, the blacks won't show up, but the whites will. So we just want that edge mask, basically. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to set this back to default. I'm going to right click, stop previewing it. I'm still undecided whether to invert this yet. So I'm going to right click in here and put a 1 minus. I'm just going to leave it there for now. And I may come back to it in a little while. Like so. Okay. I'm going to duplicate these twice. I want it to control exponent. That can go in there. That's a bit drastic, that value. I'm just going to put a 0.5 for now. This one, I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave that at 3. This one is, I'm going to put this as a really low number. 0.02. Like so. And this is just basically our fade, base reflect. So if I change this now to base reflect, oh dear, I've not got a capital R, like so, like so, there we go, pull that in there a little bit, pull these two in, and down one. I'm going to change this group, so 3 river options, so this is going to be 4 refraction, like so. I'm going to change these two into the refraction group as well. Right, what I need to do now, this is basically our mask. This is just going to tell our refraction how far away from an object to appear and the transparency and all that good stuff. So that's our refraction mask built, but I want a way to control our refraction index. What refraction index is, if I come down here into the panels, if you highlight your output master material, come to refraction here, you'll see we have an index of refraction. We do want to use an index of refraction because this will determine how strong our refraction is. But when using it here, as you can see there, it says right at the bottom, is a poor fit for large refractive surfaces like water. So it's always best case to change this refraction mode to pixel normal. This will give us a lot more quality. It's a little bit more experience, a little bit more expensive, but it'll give us a lot better quality. But I still want control over our refraction index. And that's why I built this mask. We could simply duplicate this lerp, put this in right in there like that, put this in our B. This one we can use in the A slot again, because we're doing the same thing. And if I duplicate this, I'll put this to a 0.5 to start with. I'll put this into the B slot, and this is going to be our refraction index. We're going to keep this at a 0.5. It may need to go a slight bit higher depending on our mask, but we'll see that once we've built the logic. We're going to go in there into the shader here and start playing about. I do know this mask will work. I have worked on it a couple of times. So we'll drag our normal into that alpha. No, let me think. We have got no control for refraction itself. Alpha mask. Yeah, we'll do it here. Yeah, we'll do it here. So I'm going to hold M on the keyboard and get a multiply node in. Left click. We're going to drag this into our alpha. I want just the ability to change our refraction itself on its own without anything else. Oh dear, just deleted the whole thing. So I'm going to control and duplicate this. I'm just going to call this refraction. I'm going to plug this into our A slot, and we'll get this normal into our B slot. Okay, I'm not sure whether to use this invert yet. We'll see, but let's test this out, this mask, shall we? So we've got our mask here. This is our edging, index. I'm going to hit apply. Right guys, fingers crossed, guys and girls, fingers crossed. And look at that, straight away. You can see the refraction is kicking in. Our values are not set up right. But that is, I'll tell you what, I am very, very, very surprised and impressed with how that has worked straight out of the box. Just with the values, not the mask. I know the mask will work. I've used it in the past. I've used this mask in the past. You can use it on multiple things, like if you can even creating, like a sun. I put a video on my YouTube a couple of weeks ago where I want to create a sun from a video game I'm playing called EVE Online. Scream out in the comments if you play it or you have done. It's a good game. But I want to create that sun. So this, well, now I think about it, will be an absolute great mask to use for that. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how that works out. We've got no sharp line. I mean, let's enable these. Refraction. So refraction index, if I increase this, it goes away. But if I put 0.1, there you go. But with this exponent, we're starting to get that line going around the edges. If I get closer here, you're starting to see this line. That's why it's always good to leave it as a 0.3 maybe. 0.5, 0.8. 0.5 seems to be working well for me. Base reflect 1, 2, 3. You can see it's going up. I'm getting that line back again. 10. That's a sharp line. So 0.5. The line's hardly visible. Our offset. Let's go for 0.2. 10. Yes, there you go. So I can now increase this base refract to 1, 2, getting a little bit more refraction in there. But if I increase our edge effect, our edge offset to 15, it'll get rid of that line. And you can also come in here to the refraction itself and just simply increase that for the amount of refraction you want, like so. And that is quite impressive. I'm very happy with that. You're hardly seeing the line around the edging. It's just about playing with these now, these values, and finding that refraction that you're looking for. But yeah, as you can see now, it's distorted underneath the water shader itself. Come around there, get some nice refraction here, and it's coming out to about this part. and then it fades away the refraction. That's what that mask is doing. So yeah, cool. Look here, yeah, you're getting some nice refraction there. And the good thing, and the reason I didn't use our depth mask, which is here, is because if we maneuver above like this, I'll use left alt and left click on my mouse. If I maneuver like this, you can see right down here in this rock, as I move down, that darkness rises. That's the effects I want for the actual river shader itself, but I wouldn't want that effect for the refraction, because now I go up, I can still see the refraction on the rock even though it's getting darker. And that's why a lot of people will use this mask, like we've done here, but I've decided we'll use our own. Okay guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. We've sorted our refraction out, we've increased the visualization of our river shader to a much better looking one. I'm much more happy with that. In the next video, like I say, I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a fake specular in the next video or the foam. Both of them will be getting done, both the fake specular and the foam, but I'm just not sure which one I'm going to do next. If you want to leave a comment below in the video at the time of the recording of this video to whatever you would prefer to see next, but eventually in the next couple of weeks to 3 weeks there's going to be foam and fake specular added to our river shader, and after them two it's going to be near enough done, our river shader. It'll look to a degree of what I want it to without it getting too expensive, and then after that we're going to move on to this. It's a completely different ball game to create this on a flat surface compared to on a sloped surface like this. So this is a different shader in itself. There will be similarities to the build, but it's going to be built in a different way with more detail than this. So yeah, if you found this video useful and informative, don't hesitate to subscribe and like the video. It really goes a long way, and I shall see you in the next video, guys and girls. Thank you.